In today's video, the beef between Elon Musk and Peter Navarro escalates. Stephen A. Smith confirms he's open to running for president in 2028. And President Trump rips Jasmine Crockett.
When it comes to tariffs and trade, we all understand in the White House, and the American people understand, that Elon's a car manufacturer. But he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler in many cases. If you go to his Texas plant, a good part of the engines that he gets, which in the EV case is the batteries, come from Japan and come from China. The electronics come from Taiwan. The tires come. What we want, and the difference is in our thinking and Elon's on this, is that we want the tires made in Akron. We want the transmissions made in Indianapolis. We want the engines made in Flint and Saginaw, and we want the cars manufactured here. It's like with Elon, it's fine. He's a car person. That's what he does. And he wants the cheap foreign parts, and we understand that. But we want him home. We want him home
Peter,
for our national security and economic security, and everything's good with Elon.
Now, this whole beef between Peter Navarro and Elon Musk is more entertaining than it is actually dramatic, if that's what you want to call it. Now, what's interesting about the clip that I just played you, it got fact-checked on X. Readers added context to this clip, said, according to Cars.com's ranking, the most American-made car is the Tesla Model Y. That's the first thing. Second thing, Elon Musk called him this: Navarro is truly a moron. What he says here is demonstrably false. Okay. And he also followed up by saying Tesla has the most American-made cars. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. And that's what actually caught people's attention. And then he goes a step further by trolling Peter Navarro. By any definition whatsoever, Tesla is the most vertically integrated auto manufacturer in America with the highest percentage of U.S. content. Navarro should ask the fake expert he invented, Ron Vara. Now, here's what the White House press secretary had to say about this.
There's been some public sparring between Elon Musk and the president's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, on some of these tariffs. Musk actually referred to Navarro today as being, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks. Are you at all, or is the administration, the president, all concerned that this is maybe impacting the public's understanding of these tariffs? It might be messing with the message on it?
No, look, these are obviously two individuals who have very different views on trade and on tariffs. Boys will be boys, and we will let their public sparring continue. And you guys should all be very grateful that we have the most transparent administration in history. And I think it also speaks to the president's willingness to hear from all sides, that he has people at the highest levels of this government in this White House who have very diverse opinions on very diverse issues, but the president takes all opinions in mind, and then he makes the best decision based on the best interests of the American public. Tiana.
All right, so here are a couple of facts for you. Number one, the battery and the motor are manufactured here in America, Fremont, California, Austin, Texas. Number two, 70% of Tesla vehicles on average, the parts are sourced between America and Canada. There's no way to know what percentage Canada represents, by the way. The remaining amount is for Mexico. Number three, Tesla Model Y is the number one selling vehicle worldwide and is the number one American-made vehicle on all lists. Now, my opinion is, again, this is just a distraction. And of course, Democrats will eat it up. And that's what Chuck Schumer did today when he talked about this beef between Peter Navarro and Elon Musk. Take a look.
Before things get worse, Donald Trump should immediately reverse his reckless trade war. He should halt his tariff tax at once. And he should start focusing more on America's actual trade adversaries like China, instead of picking a fight with the entire world and causing chaos and steering us towards a recession in the process. The chaos within the Trump administration was shown a few minutes ago when Elon Musk called Peter Navarro, the chief architect of these tariffs, a moron. That's Musk's word. He called him a moron. Their plan is so crazy, so controversial, that this administration cannot get its act together, with them calling names about each other, against one another, about this tariff plan.
Yeah, so Chuck Schumer would know. He's part of the group that forced a sitting president out of the election, that is Joe Biden. Of course, they put the screws to him, made him drop out. So I think he would know about dysfunction, right? I don't think this whole thing between Peter Navarro and Elon Musk even scratches the surface in regards to what we saw last year from Democrats, and it's still ongoing. We're talking about a guy who might get primaried by AOC of all people. And this actually takes me to the next story. You know things are so bad because polling now has Stephen A. Smith as a viable candidate for the presidential race in 2028 for Democrats. And here's what he said.
Unfortunately, over the last few weeks, I've had no choice but to get a bit more serious about it. I've been approached by people on Capitol Hill. I've been approached by people who are elected officials in office, whether it's governors or mayors or what have you, and people have legitimately and seriously asked me about that. I have no desire to be a politician. My life is pretty well, but I've decided I'm no longer going to close that door. I'm going to keep my options open. I'm going to entertain the possibility. And if it comes in 2020, late 2026, 2027, where I look at this country and I think it's an absolute mess and there's legitimate reason to believe, whether it's via exploratory committees or anything else, that I indeed would have a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States, I am not going to rule it out, and I'm not playing.
There was a poll conducted by Rasmussen Reports, out of all people, and nobody's been giving this guy credit for running this poll, by the way, but we will do it here. And the bottom line is this, right up front. 33% of likely U.S. voters view Stephen A. Smith favorably, including 11% with a very favorable impression of the popular ESPN personality. Now, here's where things get interesting. Smith is nearly even with such potential candidates as California Governor Gavin Newsom, New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In a hypothetical primary matchup, 31% would vote for Newsom and 28% for Stephen A. Smith, with almost identical results against AOC. She would get 32%, he would get 28%. Now, when he goes up against Kamala Harris, they have her getting 45%, he's getting 24%, and I think we know why that is. Now, what also caught people's attention is Stephen A. Smith's latest message about AOC and Bernie Sanders.
See, when I think about the Republicans, I think the Republicans are asking us, particularly Trump, trust me. And by the way, he's in a position to do it because he won the popular vote. He won the electoral college vote. He won every swing state. He won both houses of Congress. He's got a majority 6-3 in the Supreme Court. I mean, damn. Americans didn't just give it to him. He took it because he recognized what the left wasn't doing. They were preoccupied with nonsense. You want to ask why Stephen A. Smith felt the need to speak up at the NAB conference? Let me ask y'all this question. We supposed to leave it to Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? We're supposed to leave it with individuals that will tell you that it's perfectly okay to tax 70% of your money? Not that they gave out that number. I'm just speculating because of how socialistic they are in their thinking. We're supposed to say that that's okay? Y'all okay with that? You okay with going to work and making $100 and walking home with 30? You sure about that? Are you cool with it? Just tell me.
Now, what he said about taxes is why he has a legitimate chance to become the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in 2028, because he's relatable, folks. Nobody wants most of their check being paid to the federal government unless you're a socialist like AOC and Bernie Sanders. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what most Americans don't want. Now, this takes us to our next story, and that is the continued scandal that is being exposed in regards to these Social Security numbers that Doge uncovered. Now Fox Business is picking it up and going deeper.
Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. They just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, Doge says 270,000 new aliens were issued Social Security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24, right before Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and Doge says some actually did vote. Try and square that against Democrat claims that Musk is destroying Social Security and cutting Medicaid. He's not destroying. He's weeding out people who don't qualify. Who is really guilty of misinformation in this case? It is not Elon Musk.
So we were notified of that story during the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, But that was a deeper dive in the actual numbers, and it's really alarming. It just shows you how much Democrats are willing to lie to get what they want in all of this, which is more money and more elections, of course. And that's why they attack Elon Musk, right? They're not focusing on the message. They're not focusing on the results. They're not focusing on the corruption, fraud, waste, or abuse. No. They focus on the messenger himself, and that is Elon Musk. And of course, we have an example of that because in a hearing today that has nothing to do with Doge, Dan Goldman couldn't help himself. Watch this.
This is an important argument, but it pales in comparison to what's going on right now with Americans' privacy, with Americans' national security. We're talking about whether there should be a warrant to search a certain amount of information lawfully collected from foreigners. It's not a broad set of information. And yet, some, non-government employee, Elon Musk, is getting access to every single American's personal identification information. His employees, some of whom who have already been found to have stolen information from one company to bring to another competitor, are getting access to Americans' personal identification information, whether it be through the Social Security Administration, it be through the Department of Treasury. So it feels like this hearing, while important, is somewhat misguided at this time.
Now, we already know Dan Goldman. He's the one that's misguided. There's no question about that. And if they're so concerned with Americans' personal information or sensitive data, as they call it, then what have they done about these social media companies? What have they done about larger corporations who clearly have access to our information? What about all the robocalls and the scam calls? What about all that? They clearly have nothing to say in regards to those things, and those things do way more damage than whatever they're talking about Elon Musk is up to, because they've yet to provide any receipts. And again, Americans are not going to hear that when they are reminded of the fraud, waste, and abuse that continues to get exposed. Listen to this story.
The reports from the Bureau of Economic Analysis show wages are going up after adjusting for inflation. That, of course, is good news, but they also show government handouts are increasing by much more. So take a look at these numbers. Wages increased by $67 billion during the first 2 months of this year, while government payments to recipients surged by $162 billion. And take, for example, the states with the largest increase in personal income. Again, good news at face value, but when you dig into the report, it says for 2 of those 3 states, North Carolina and California, growth in Medicaid benefits was the leading contributor to the increase in personal income. In California, Medicaid spending is costing billions of dollars more than expected, in large part because of the state's decision to expand Medicaid benefits to eligible undocumented immigrants. And at the same time, California is dealing with that shortfall after expanding benefits to non-citizens. Elon Musk and Doge are trying to root that out at the federal level.
Listen, this is why Democrats have an uphill battle. When you are continuing to hear, and I'm talking about the American people, are continuing to hear that illegal migrants are receiving Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, monthly stipend payments, SNAP benefits, housing, I mean, they get treated way better than veterans. Right? They get treated way better than people who's been paying taxes for decades. I mean, it's fascinating. But they want us to believe that Elon Musk is the problem. Yeah, see, that just doesn't add up. And that's why what Jasmine Crockett said today in that hearing isn't going to resonate with most Americans either. Here she is attacking President Trump. Take a look.
Let's talk about the fact that as of March 30th, Trump's golfing has cost us approximately $26 million. And the last time I checked, we're not getting anything in return for that. So I will get back on my remarks, but I just wanted to point out that maybe we need to talk about the president and his golfing habits. In fact, he decided that he was going to golf as the markets were tanking. He decided he was going to golf instead of receiving 4 heroes who died serving this country. He has decided that he wanted to play games while the rest of us are really trying to make sure that we can serve the American people.
The only way to respond to people like her is with facts. Fact number 1, the president's not going to receive soldiers who die in a training accident. That is a fact, okay? It's a custom, though, for the president to receive service members who died in war, meaning if it was the president's order that sent them overseas and they died in battle, yeah, they would be received. That's number one. Number two, his golfing habits. You can say what you want, but results tell a story. I mean, a secure border, gas is down, egg prices are down, rates are coming down, 111 executive orders. I mean, I'm not too sure where she's going with that point. And number three, if Democrats were really about serving people, they would have won the presidency. They would be in charge of the Senate and the House. The fact that they lost overwhelmingly and rejected by majority of Americans, I think that tells the story. Now, of course, President Trump had something to say about Crockett. Take a look.
The Democrats have taken a lot of beatings. They have lost their confidence. They've gone crazy. They've gone crazy. How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? Is that real? Are they serious about that? That's their new star? If that's their new star, they're in serious trouble. I mean, this is Crockett. Oh, man, oh, man. But we've done a job, but they've totally lost their confidence. And it's a hard thing when you lose your confidence, but they have. They've taken a lot of beatings, and now they're going to rely on Crockett to bring them back. Crockett's going to bring them back. You ever watch this?
Yeah, so that was today from President Trump. He was speaking at the NRCC, and you know he's got to throw his digs in there. He pays attention to the noise, and it is true. I mean, if Jasmine Crockett is going to continue to be the leader for the Democrats, I mean, Republicans will welcome that all day long. We know why, all right? I don't even have to get into it. Now, I think what's actually more important is probably one of the most profound statements that he made at this dinner that I think you're going to enjoy. Listen to this.
I'm proud to be the president for the workers, not the outsourcers. The president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street, who protects the middle class, not the political class, and who defends America, not trade cheaters all over the globe. They're trade cheaters. They cheated on us. They cheated with tariffs on us.
I think that sums up exactly what's going on right now and the president's focus and why he's doing what he's doing. So hopefully people are paying attention. Now let's get into the questions I'd love for you guys to answer in the comment section below. What is your reaction to Stephen A. Smith and what he had to say about a potential run in 2028? That's the first thing. Secondly, what do you think about this whole Peter Navarro versus Elon Musk beef that I think is really just a distraction? And then obviously President Trump's reaction to Jasmine Crockett. Let me know what you think about those stories in the comment section. Now, earlier today, there was breaking news in regards to the Supreme Court handing President Trump another win, which continues to leave Democrats demoralized. If you want to check out that story and more from earlier today, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.